Khan. All right, Shalom. Before we begin, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well. And also Shalom and salutations to the brothers out there laboring in this work as well. So, yeah, we're back once again with another lesson. And this lesson, we're going to be continuing in the book of Esther, picking up where we left off, chapter 3 in the NLT. It says, sometime later, King Xerxes promoted Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, over all the other nobles, making him the most powerful official in the empire. All the king's officials would bow down before Haman to show him respect whenever he passed by. For so the king had commanded, but Mordecai refused to bow down or show him respect. Then the palace officials at the king's gate asked Mordecai, "Why are you disobeying the king's command?" They spoke to him. Uh, they spoke to him day after day, but still he refused to comply with the order. So they spoke to Haman about this to see if he would uh, tolerate Mordecai's conduct, since Mordecai had told them he was a Jew. You see, and Mordecai was an Israelite. You know, he was an Israelite, and it said that Mordecai was from the tribe of Benjamin, right? So reading on, and
Mhm.
Haman,
Real quick, just to add to it, and Haman himself, he's an Edomite.
right,
So that's why, the commanders, as I said, they went to ask, basically told Haman about it to see what he would do, because we know, according to the scriptures, that these two people, they have a perpetual hatred one against another.
right,
So, you can see on what point the officials were going to, tell Haman about this, you may say, trespass, or him basically not following the king's commandment. With all the officials, they have to bow to Haman, right? So
right,
if it is here the your number one enemy, he's not bowing down. Shit, you got to do something, right?
right. I've got a quick precept. This is Genesis 3, and I'm gonna start out verse 15, and it says, "And the Lord power give unto the woman, what is this that thou Slaki? And the Lord power said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord power said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field.
They
Upon
said real quick, just to point out too, and the serpent here wasn't a literal animal, a literal serpent. This
right,
was a man with characteristics of a serpent. He was cunning. He was sly. Okay, and that's who Esau Edom is. He's a snake. He's a serpent. That's who this is referring to. It's a man with serpent-like characteristics. It's not a literal serpent as Esau teaches in his really, the so-called Christianity, that a serpent came with an apple and then started speaking to Eve and deceived Eve and she bit the apple. No,
right,
this is a man. This was talking about a man. Just to point that out there.
right. It's, verse 14, it says, and the Lord power said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
hmm And that's basically that's going back to that hatred, man. It goes back to
Right,
that curse that the Heavenly Father put between the serpent and the woman representing the nation of Israel, and the serpent basically representing a Esau Edom, man. Okay, which that nation is known as today the so-called white people. That's why when you get around these people, there's a certain vibe of like, yo, I can't bond with these people, man. It's like an awkward vibe.
right,
That's why there's a enmity that was put there. Okay, there's a reason why, as you go on down the history in Genesis, when Jacob and Esau were born, there was a certain conflict between those two forces in the womb. Okay, because they in the heavens, the Lord put it that what those two nations will be opposite to one another.
Right.
Okay, which started way before the curses. Really, it started way before when the Lord put that curse between the serpent and the woman. Started since in the heavens, man. Okay, it
Right.
was already ordained.
Right.
The book of Romans, the ninth
Right.
chapter, speaks about that.
Right.
Right? You know what? Hey, let me get that real quick.
Gone.
I'll get that real quick. The book of Romans, 9, and uh, bear with me for a minute. I'm just gonna go to the point. Hold on. This is Romans 9 and verse. I'm gonna go to the point and verse. You know what? Let's start at verse 9. It says, "For this is the word of the promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall conceive and have a son." And that son was Isaac. Okay, Sarah was the wife of Abraham, and then and in her old age, the Lord came unto Abraham, basically, well, told Sarah that she's gonna have a son. But when you read it in Genesis, right, she couldn't believe it because she was in that age where basically women, when they get to a particular age, they don't their eggs, it can't basically take on sperm and bring forth a child, right? Because how do you call that? They women break down, as they get older. They can't reproduce
Right.
as in their youth, right? So
Right.
verse 10 it says, and
Oh,
not
sorry.
only this, yeah,
Real quick, that's why Isaac's name is laughter. It means laughter because she laughed. She couldn't believe that she was, gonna have a kid.
yep, done. It says verse 10, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for this is the point of verse 11, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of that the purpose of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai according to election might stand not of works, but of him that calleth. Right? It's telling you that basically, since in the heavens it was already ordained who basically those children what they would be on earth,
Right.
right? They didn't do any good nor evil, but since already in the heavens it was sanctioned that this nation would be the righteous nation and this nation would be the wicked nation. Or you may say this child would be the forefather of the righteous nation, and then this shall be the forefather of that wicked seed. Okay? It's not of works. They didn't do anything yet, but it's what? It's according to the Heavenly Father's will, right? Yeah, that was the point there. You got it, bro.
Con. So it says, matter of fact, I got a quick precept. This is Ecclesiasticus 33 and verse 11. It says, "In much knowledge the Lord had divided them and made their ways diverse. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them hath he sanctified and set near himself. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places." So like the brothers going into how Jacob and or in this case Mordecai and Haman, they're two separate entities. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they cannot coexist. They cannot, come together. It's like a magnet. You try to bring two magnets together, they just automatically push apart from each other. You know, that's the case with Mordecai and Haman. They're made diverse from each other. They're two separate spirits. You know, they're
Mm-hmm.
in opposition to each other, man. Just like light cannot be with darkness. You know, uh,
Yep.
verse verse 13, it says, "As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so is man so is man is in the hand of him that made him to render to them as likeneth him best." So we would be the clay, in the potter's hand, which is the Lord's hand, like the brothers going into how everything is predestinated. Even before you're born, you're chosen on, and you're given a lot, a role to play in the earth. Whether that's to be on the right side, to be those that are blessed of the Lord and exalted, or whether that's to be on the left side, which is cursed. You see? It says, verse 14, it says, good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. It says, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. You see, so just like Mordecai and Haman, that's why Mordecai didn't want to bow down to Haman, because it was spiritual. You know,
Mm-hmm.
knew like, yo, this guy is he's less. You know, he's my enemy. Why am I
Yep.
gonna bow down to my enemy, man? You know,
That's it. Done.
you got a precept.
All that.
So going back to Esther 3 and verse 3, Salaki, verse 5, it says, when Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow down or show him respect, he was filled with rage. He had learned of Mordecai's nationality, so he decided it was not enough to lay hands on Mordecai alone. Instead, he looked for a way to destroy all the Jews throughout the entire empire of Xerxes. You
Yeah,
see,
that's true hate right there, man. That's hate, man. You know
right,
what I'm saying? You want to talk about hate speech and shit? That's hate right there, man.
right,
You know, just because the man's then bowed down, he said, "Nah, bro, I'm not gonna only stop at you. I'm going from the whole nation."
right,
You see that? Just because he didn't bow down to him, now he learned of his nationality. He's like, "Oh shit!" Something clicked, triggered him in the spirit to
right,
trigger that the hatred, and just say, "Yo, I'm gonna do away with all the nation." Right?
right,
The king put me in a certain position. He knew he had that power to do that, right?
right.
So in his mind is like, yo, that old hatred got sparked up, man.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
that's that perpetual hatred, man. Yo, real quick, let me get Ezekiel. I know I quoted this earlier. I want to get that perpetual hatred real quick. Um, this is
Ezekiel,
Ezekiel.
yeah.
Salakia?
You got Ezekiel 35.
Khan. This is Ezekiel 35 and verse. I'm gonna get to the point. This is Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in their calamity, and the time where the iniquity had an end. You see that? Esau has a perpetual hatred, man. Right? As soon as he learned of Mordecai's nationality, he's like, yo, I want to do away with that whole nation. Because why? It goes back to that perpetual hatred, that old hatred that they have for the nation of Israel, man. That Esau Edom has for the nation of Israel. Although there were is it paternal twins?
Yeah, fraternal,
Yeah,
fraternal.
fraternal Tawada. Although they were fraternal twins, meaning they were twins, but they didn't look like one another. You have that, right? You have people that have twins, but they look completely different from one another, and that's what Esau and Jacob was, right? Although they were twin brothers during the same womb, but there's still two opposing forces, man. And here it is, we're reading about that right now, man. And then throughout history, Esau has demonstrated his hatred towards the nation of Israel. Not only in this account, right? Hey, the when the Babylonians came and took over the kingdom of Judah, right, and then basically brought them into captivity, who was there and burnt down our temple?
Mm-hmm.
None other than Esau Edom, man. He was that gremlin that stayed back and then burnt the temple, man. You see, which Psalms the 137 speaks about that. Furthermore, and Ezra, I think like second Ezra, the first chapter goes into that too, man.
Right.
Right? How that Esau is that nigga that burnt up the temple, man. So you can see throughout history that this guy was always on the scene where calamity was upon Israel. Okay? You see? Yeah, the real quick, let me get that word perpetual.
If I may
Uh,
add real quick too, just to paint a picture, if you just to paint a picture, Mordecai would be a direct descendant of Jacob, and then Haman would also be a direct descendant of Esau. That's who they derive from, just to paint that picture. That's why we're linking them up, because they're descendants of those two men, Jacob and Esau.
yeah. Real quick, this is the word perpetual, and the blue letter says long duration. It says antiquity. You see, long duration, man. You would think that after Esau died off and Jacob died off, that the hatred would end, but it didn't end, man. You know, throughout reincarnations, how that their seed came back. Both of those seeds kept regenerated throughout the ages. That hatred still stayed. You see, it's a long duration. Okay, antiquity, futurity, forever, ever, everlasting, evermore, perpetual, old, ancient. Okay, so it's a hatred that's never gonna end. Okay, the only way that hatred is gonna end is when these niggas get extinct, man. It's the day that they get round up and then burnt up, man. Okay, that's when that hatred is gonna end. But
Right.
until then, if these guys are still alive, they're still existing, they're still gonna have that hatred towards us, man. Even though, yeah, you might be in your daily life, they may put up a smile and hey, hi, whatever. They try to be buddy buddy with you, but deep down, man, we actually analyze their spirit. You could sense that hatred, man.
Hmm.
Which, hey, Mordecai, he was sensing that hatred. That's probably why he didn't bow down, man.
Right.
You know, he was in the king's court. They probably came across each other, and we seeing Haman walking all prideful with the purple robe or whatever. You know, because he got that promotion.
Right.
Esau was to get a promotion in the plantation, man. They get a certain pomp, man. They walk with
Right.
a certain pomp. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Richard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That you know what I mean? They get a certain position, man. They have a certain pride about them. You
Right.
know? And then they look down on Jake, especially if they know you're Jake, and then they start, practicing their authority upon you. Do this, do that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And you can sense it's not sincere, it's just like out of a hatred, man. That's why Mordecai didn't bow down, man. You know, because he could sense that hatred from that fucker, man. You know what I'm saying? That everlasting hatred. You got it, bro.
Khan, if I may add too, because some people that proves that Edomites are not supposed to be, that they're not supposed to have power, man. You know, because they'll overdo things, man. You
Yeah,
know, and that's the case like with the Earth right now. They're overdoing things. They're using their power, maliciously. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. That's why scriptures, and Jeremiah says he's the hammer of the whole earth, man.
right,
He abuses his power, man, over these nations.
right,
He's sucking these nations dry out of their resources, going in their country and shit, taking
hmm,
things that's not even his, right?
right,
He's removing the landmarks, okay? So, hey, he is the hammer of the whole earth, man,
right,
right? That's him, what, over abusing his authority to the point
right,
that he's destroying his own citizens.
right, right,
See, that's why he's not fit to rule, man. Esau's not fit to rule. Okay,
right,
Esau's not fit to be in a position of authority, man. Okay, because they're gonna abuse that power, man. All right, to the point it's not beneficial for the people. That's why it says in Proverbs 29 and 2, what, when the righteous bear the authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear through, the people mourn. Because what,
right,
Esau's a fucking hammer.
right, and he's dishonored by everybody, man. Everybody doesn't like him. Like the brother's going into. You have any more?
That was it, bro.
Going back to Esther 3 and verse 7, it says, so in the month of April, during the 12th year of King Xerxes' reign, lots were cast in Haman's presence. The lots were called Purim to determine the best day and month to take action. And the day selected as March 7th, nearly a year later. Then Haman approached King Xerxes and said, there is a certain race of people scattered through all the provinces of your empire who keep themselves separate from everyone else. Their, their laws are different from those of any other people, and they refuse to obey the laws of the king. So it is not in the king's interest to let them live. And that's the serpent's tongue right there, man.
Yep,
He's
yep,
talking slick to the king, like he's basically setting us, setting it up like, yo, these guys are bad, these guys are horrible. Get rid of them.
yep,
That's why it says,
yep,
his mouth was his words were what smoother than oil, but war was in his heart. Evil was in his heart. You see, but he makes it sound like, oh, we're a threat. The nation of Israel was a threat. It says, so it is in the king's interest to let them live, to not Slack it. So it is not in the king's interest to let them live. If it please the king, issue a decree that they be destroyed, and I will give 10,000 large sacks of silver to the government administrators to be deposited in the royal treasury.
So,
And the
yo,
king,
that's why it's like it, man. That's why the scriptures say this guy is the accuser of the brethren, man.
right,
You know, Jake is just minding their own business. You know, they're already in captivity. They're doing their best to, get by, right? But here it is, this guy's to come in and just accuse Jake, man. Which really, he just doesn't want, us to be in a in a position of authority, really, if you look at it like that. Because he knows
right,
once we're at the top, man, he's going to have to be at the bottom, right?
right,
Which even then, it would be beneficial for these heathens when we're on top. It's going to be beneficial,
right.
right? But this guy, like you said, bro, he's just being a serpent, man.
Hmm.
He's just being a serpent saying, oh, there's a particular group that they don't follow your laws. You know that, right? And then if they don't follow you, what's gonna happen, right? That means
Right,
your rulership is in how you what's that word, man? Your rulership is in threat.
right,
They're threatening to rule. They're basically saying you have no authority over them. Why? What are you gonna do, right?
right.
Which basically just
They're their own. They have their own, ways. They have their own king. Basically.
yeah, that's what he's saying.
Right,
But really, he's just manipulating the king to fulfill his own will,
right,
right? Because when we read up, he already made it in his mind that I gotta do it with the whole nation,
right.
right? So he's just using that position that he has to manipulate the king to where he gets a go ahead to basically do away with the nation of Israel at that point in time.
Hmm.
You see? Which Esau's still doing this till this day. He still wants to do away with us, man. He still has counsels to where he wants Jake to be on a certain level that they don't, realize who they are and come back to their power,
Right,
right? Which that end goal really is once again is to do away with the nation, which the same thing he's trying to do here, man. Hey, that hatred, bro. I'm telling you, bro. That hatred is, bro. There's a reason why we run in Ezekiel that's a perpetual hatred.
right,
Each age, each generation, this guy comes, man. There's a story where he speaks about him trying to do away with the nation of Israel, man. Right? And
right,
till this day, this guy's still trying to do away with us. Okay? And Jake, they want to join hand in hand with this nigga. Right? If Mordecai was here today, man, and seeing how Jake has behaved towards Esau, man, hey, Mordecai would be very pissed off, man. You know? But hey, since we fell from grace, man, and then Jake doesn't know who they are, then they side with the devil. You see,
that's
but
right.
hey, if our forefathers were here today, man, and seeing how fucking Jake is kissing up to Esau's ass, man, yo, yo, trust me, they'll be putting the Esau to death with them niggas too, right?
Hmm.
Because back then, men were more after the Heavenly Father's mind,
Right,
and the way you follow the Heavenly Father's mind is what? By taking heed unto the words. And when you take heed unto the words, you realize who your enemies are. And then you come to that David mindset to where, hey, those that are your enemies are my enemies. And Esau Edom is indeed the enemy of the Lord because, hey, we're seeing this today throughout history. How whenever he comes in power, he doesn't reverence the Lord. He goes and he establishes his own way of life to where the ways of the Lord is X'd out, right? So once again, if our
hmm,
forefathers were here, man, hey, they'll be killing ninjas and Esau, man. Because Jake is just behaving just like the devil. You see? Yeah, you got it,
that's
bro.
right. Got a precept. This is
Mm-hmm.
Psalms 83 and verse 1. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O Most High, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They
Yeah,
have
these
taken
niggas are making
craft."
a tumult. I like it. They're making a tumult, man. They're taking crafty counsel against the people of the Lord, man. That's why they have certain secret meetings, right? Bohemian Grove, WEF, right? All these different councils that they have, right? When there's other councils that they have we don't even know of,
Right.
right? Of how that they want to exterminate Jake. They want to do away with the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans because what they pose a threat.
Hmm.
You see?
Even
If they're here,
even without
no, no, you got it, bro.
even without like even without being a threat, we're still a threat. You know, if that makes sense. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
like in like Mordecai, for example, he wasn't really being a threat. You know, like he wasn't trying to like coming for East for Haman, but he was still a threat. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mordecai was just minding his business. He was just in the court playing, playing his security job, right? But Haman, since he got an authority, he wants to. He's that guy, right? He has to show that he's that guy.
Right.
You know, fucking nigga, man.
Verse 4 says, "They have said, 'Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.'"
Yeah,
For
they want to cut shit. Come on, man. Come on. That's why Haman wanted. That's why he basically brought up to the king, right? That
right,
that was the plea that he brought to the king. You see, let us cut the name of Israel from all the earth. Let us do away with these people, right?
right. But
Hey, come on, man.
he sugarcoated it, man. You know,
Yeah, he quoted it. Yep.
he said their ways are different. Look, they're not. Yo, bro, he's basically serpent talked it, man. You know,
Yeah. Which always, yes, and it is different, but it's beneficial. It promotes life. Okay, because the earth is made for us. So with that being said, the Lord, with the earth being made for us, right? The Lord basically gave us, the way and how things are supposed to function on the earth,
hmm,
right? Which are what the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, that's what makes us our ways diverse from these nations, right? But the thing is, our ways is beneficial for the earth,
right,
right? It's the guidebook on how to coexist with the earth. You see? And then if those ways are established on the earth, everybody's gonna benefit. Except one nigga. Esau Edom. That's why he's like, yo, shit, their ways are different, man. Trust me, you know what I mean? Their ways are different. Probably, talking shit, right? But surely he didn't bring the benefits of how, our way of life, once again is beneficial for the earth,
right,
you know?
right,
He thought, he sprinkled a little truth, but at the same time he brought, bombarded the slanders and the lies to where, he demonized us to where the king is able to give him the okay,
right.
you know?
Verse 5 it says, "For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites and of Moab and the Hagarenes."
Yep, yep. Yeah, you see at the top is Esau. At the top is Esau Edom, man. You see? And then it goes on saying Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, Moab, the so-called Chinese, the Hagarenes, the so-called Hamites, right? They all these nations, man, they're in cahoots. But what? Who's at the head? Esau Edom.
That's
Okay,
right.
the number one enemy of the Israelites. Okay?
That's right. So he's running the charge, you know? Uh Going back to Esther chapter 3 and verse 10, it says, "The king agreed, confirming his decision by removing his signet ring from his finger and giving it to Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews." Uh, the, the king said, "The money and the people are both yours to do with as you see fit." You see?
Mhm.
So it says, so on April 17th, the king's secretaries were summoned, and a decree was written exactly as Haman dictated. It was sent to the king's highest officers, the governors of the respective provinces, and the nobles of each province in their own scripts and language. The decree was written in the name of King Xerxes and sealed with King Xerxes' signet ring. Dispatches were sent by swift messengers into all the provinces of the empire, giving the order that all Jews, young and old, including women and children, must be killed, slaughtered, and annihilated in a single day.
Wow.
You know? So that's perpetual hatred, man.
Hmm.
To want to completely abolish a nation in a single day, man.
Hmm.
All because of what? All because of Haman, something so small. You know, but we know it's not really small because this is age old, man.
Yep.
This enmity is age old. You know, it's been of old, like the brother been going into. It says this was scheduled to happen on March 7th the next year. The property of the Jews would be given to those who killed them. A copy
So
of
basically, you kill them and then you take their land.
right,
You
what's
know?
oh yo,
Yeah,
killing them before
yeah,
you
yeah.
fucking
That's it.
Edomite, man. You know, that shows you that's the same people, man. These same Edomites, man. You know, that same mindset, I mean, like Mordecai, man.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
fraud, bro. That's fraud.
Hmm.
To
Yep.
keep when I believe if you look up the word fraud, it goes into um how I forgot how it was worded, but just putting it in my own words, you kill somebody and then you take what's theirs, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, which basically this guy is trying to, flip a Uno reverse. Because according to prophecy, he's the one that's going to be exterminated and we're going to take his land. You
Right,
see what I'm saying? Which Haman, he probably knew about the history. He knew of his history, right? He knew about the history of how that, when King David was in power, of how that, hey, we basically almost exterminated his nation,
right.
right? And, probably, he's trying to get a lick back. But
Payback.
we did, but us, it's in righteousness. It's thus said the Lord. That's how, once we're in rulership, we have to take these niggas out of power,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which, him, he's trying to play that Uno reverse of, you know, exterminating the Jews, and then you can take their land. But when you come to know, when you go, hey, I'm gonna read this, right? That's what's gonna happen to him, according to prophecy, once the kingdom of heaven is established. Right? This is Obadiah 1 and verse 18. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. You see, the Lord hath spoken it, man. Right? If the Lord didn't speak it, then it's not going to happen. And that's what Esau is trying to do. The Lord didn't speak that he's going to exterminate the nation of Israel. So all the futile attempts that Esau is doing, once again, it's futile. It's a futile attempt in trying to exterminate the nation of Israel.
Right.
You see? That's why, he made that bet with them in Jeremiah 31. If you can, search the earth, if you could, search the heaven, roughly paraphrasing the sea and whatnot, then I would do away with the nation of Israel, which clearly Esau cannot do, right? There's one about the moon. If you could, what was
Right.
it? I forgot how it went, man. But all these projects that Esau be having, trying to destroy the moon, he's trying to do that because he wants to do away with the nation of Israel. Because that was the bet that the Lord put for Esau, but which really is it's a bet that's like, yo, he can achieve that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, him trying to do away with us, really, it's not gonna work, because once again, it's not death said the scripture. The scriptures, like we just read, the scripture says what? House of Jacob and the house of Joseph is gonna be a flame unto Esau. Okay, and it's gonna devour it like stubble. You ever see flames spark and stubble, man? It burns up the stubble quickly. That's what's gonna happen to Esau, man. And then once he's exterminated, once he's taken out, what's gonna happen? Verse 19. It says, and they of the south shall possess Mount Esau. Who are
Mm-hmm.
they of the south? Judah. Judah's gonna take them, man. They're gonna possess the land of Seir.
Right.
Which Judah, is right above Esau.
Right.
So now from Judah on down to the land of Esau, right? Mount Seir, that's gonna be the possession of the house of Judah, man. Okay, that's who's gonna take his house. All right. So Haman's futile attempt of trying to, which when you come to read the whole story, you're gonna see how that was a futile attempt,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which at the end of the day, that's what's gonna happen to him.
That's right.
You know, yeah, that was the point.
Kind of finishing up on the last verse, verse 14. It says, "A copy of this decree was to be issued as law in every province and proclaimed to all peoples, so that they would be ready to do their duty on the appointed day. At the king's command, the decree went out by swift messengers, and it was also proclaimed in the fortress of Susha. Then the king and Haman sat down to drink, and the city of Susha fell into confusion." So that's pretty much the chapter, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because the city fell into confusion. Why? Because these letters, like, yo,
What's
why
going
why
on?
why do we have to exterminate everybody? What's going on?
Yeah,
These are peaceful people. These are you know,
yeah, yeah. Because Jake, they are peaceful people, man. Being amongst these heathens, we try to, like Yahushua said, if it be possible, be at peace with all men, right? Jake, by nature, we try to, be cordial with all men. We're good people. Hey, the nation of God, they demonstrate that kindness towards Esau, and look how Esau, repaid them,
right,
right? Just I'm using our brothers as an example to show forth that kindness that we have. Whenever strangers come, we receive them with a certain hospitality. Of
right,
course, we treat, our brethren, our nation more. We're more hospitable to our nation than the rest of these heathens. To a
right,
certain limit, you give a particular, uh, you know, uh, hospitality, to these other nations, right?
right,
Even according to the law, like if there's a dead animal that died of itself, we're not going to sell that animal to our brethren, to the nation of Israel. But a heathen, I'm saying we're going to sell that shit to them,
right,
right? Showing you that, we deal on a different level to them. But even then, we still give them a certain, hospitality. We give them a certain, like, a certain, a certain hospitality, man, you know?
hmm,
Not saying that we're all buddy buddy like like you would be with the Israelite, but regardless, we still show forth we still show forth like a sense of kindness to them, okay? Which ultimately we're gonna demonstrate that in a sense in the kingdom of heaven. Although we are gonna have to beat them to submission with a rod of iron, but after then they're gonna be good. You know what I
hmm,
mean? They're gonna love our rulership, man. There's a reason why it says in Isaiah 2 they're gonna come up to the mountain of Israel and try to learn of our ways, because what is gonna be beneficial for them. You see? That's why once again bring it back to Esther, it was in confusion. It was like, what? You mean I gotta kill my neighbor, Yaquab? What
yeah,
Yaquab? Yo, every time I see this guy, man, he's sure is helping me out, man. Yaquab is a nice guy, man. I don't want to kill him.
yeah,
You
Yakwa
see?
brought me unleavened bread.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, bro. These nations, what? I mean, we gotta take them out. Why? They're confusion. You see?
Yeah, Khan. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. You have anything to say, or
Yeah, that was it, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Khan? Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, we're gonna close off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh,
Gosh,
Bahashim, Yahweh
you know.
Shai, Bahashim, Kudash. Once again, double honors to our teachers, the apostles, the elders, the great millstone. And until next time, Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.